Heyo, my name is Noodle Smith, and welcome to my Devlog for the Benbonk Jam number 3. I've teamed up with 3 other guys from my uni's Game Dev Society, which composes of 2 programmers/developers and an artist, and we developed and submitted the game 2 sides, 1 choice. Starting off with Friday, the theme got announced at 8 PM UK time, and the theme was 2 sides. So we started brainstorming and noting down ideas. Quite a few ideas came up. We have coin flipping, something to do with mirrors, platforming puzzle games with flipping levels, but we avoided this as we know a lot of other games will be using this idea. So the last idea we thought of is a rain inspired game. So rain is a card game where the player gets presented with a card or a situation, and they have 2 ways to respond to it. At the end, we decided to combine the rain story idea with the coin flipping. The player would be given a card depicting a situation, and they have 2 ways to respond. Each choice will affect your 3 main status: health, bucks, and mood, and some choices will give the player a status effect. A player will only need to make sure their 3 status are above 0. The player also have an age value for each stage in their life, and different cards will be presented. We had a few concerns regarding the design, including limiting the player's choice with having only 2 choices to pick from. We thought about expanding the idea and giving the player more than 2 choices. We are also worried with the coin flip being too RNG and essentially being a 50-50 chance. We thought about having a physics simulation, but again it is up to the physics, and we are worried that it will slow the gameplay down, waiting for the physics to do its thing. So starting off Saturday, we made some prototype of the coin flipping using the physics engine with Unity, but it turns out to be very inconsistent, so we prioritized with making the event and cards instead. While my teammates focused brainstorming and noting down as much ideas as possible for the events, I focused at making and cooking the tastiest and well-made spaghetti code I have ever made, including poorly named variables, no encapsulation at all, and an absolute mess of a functional code. So let's start off with explaining the card class. It essentially stores the values a certain card needs. It includes what happens if you select the heads option, what values for stats it will modify, status it will add and remove, cards it will add and remove from the card buffer, which I'll explain later. I then duplicate that for the tails option and change the variables from heads to tails. I then added the ability to set what kind of condition the card can be played, for example what age the player needs to be, and if they have a certain required status effect on them. Then we have the player script. It's a very straightforward script that stores the 3 basic stats: health, bucks, and mood, the age of the player, and a list of status effects. And the last major class is the card event manager. This class handles picking and playing cards. It includes stats modification and applying status effects to the player. It also allows other cards to queue or set the next card to be played using the card buffer. So with picking a new card, it follows a very straightforward flowchart on what card is chosen to be played next. If the card buffer is not empty, it plays the next buffered card. If it is empty, it will play a random new card from the pool of cards. It will check if the player meets the requirements. If not, then we'll try and pick another random one. So that's the basics of it. But what if it can't find an eligible random card? Then we'll just have to age the player up and hope there's an eligible card for the new age. But then what if it's asking for a job and it links to a list of cards? So what about playing the death cards then? Well, So this is essentially the flowchart. It's so that messy, I don't even know how it works, other than it works. Next we have updating and setting the new cards. So what it does, it deletes the previous card, change the current card to the previous card, set a new card to be the current card, and update all the related variables at the end. The previous card is needed for the animation. Lastly, we got the playing and applying the effects of the card. Yeah, the code's a mess, so let's leave it at that. They are the systems, but they are the generic stuff like the menu and the UI handling. It took us a long time to manually add in each card to the game with its stats change and all the text, and well, we had to redo half of them because of a mix-up. But we managed to end the day with around 40 unique cards. By the end of the day, we have a half-functioning prototype where we get given cards and have 2 buttons to pick, heads or tails. The game feels quite dull and simplistic at the moment, so we decided we needed some experimental prototype to test if we should use the buttons or the coin flip. So, new day, new start. We have decided on the death or ending cards. where each status will be linked to a death card, hence an ending, and some of them will need a combination of multiple statuses to trigger an ending. We added a lot more effects, making the game more satisfying. I spent a morning pointing the coin to mimic clicking the buttons, depending on which face it lands on. We spent a lot of time playtesting with both options open. We all found that we could use the buttons to make certain decisions, either to avoid certain death, or to get a certain status effect, or to just use the coin and just let fate decide. We spent most of the day polishing, adding more UI components, adding more cards, and fixing and making sure each of them does what it should do. I've also broken down the coin strength charger to 5 segments instead of just linear, allowing more control to the coin flip. The game is coming along really nicely. So last day, with 10 hours left, we went through and checked all the cards while adding a few more death cards. We have also added a grading system where you will be given a grade depending on the remaining stats and status effect. We also added in screen shakes to be more impactful and also cause screen shakes. And thanks to Practice's tutorial, it was quickly implemented into the game with no issues. Okay, let's test this. I just need to die really quickly. We have also greatly smartened up the UI/UX and got the main menu to work very nicely, making it more interesting than just boxes and text. We then spent the next few hours before the deadline playtesting, balancing, and fixing mostly grammatical errors in the cards. This is the first time I've been in a game jam, not panicking about game-breaking bugs in the last few hours. And it's the first time we've got friends and people outside of the team to playtest and receive a lot of feedback. With about 1 hour left, we decided to submit the game. So post-jam, after 5 days of voting, we have received quite a lot of comments from other participants enjoying our game. We have managed to rank 5th out of 138 entries, and all of us are very surprised and happy with the results. We did so well that we have plans to keep development for this game going until releasing it onto Steam. It's a mechanic defense, I'm really sorry, but it's for the greater good. Thank you to Joy, Al and Max for teaming up with me, and thank you to those who have played and rated our game, and most importantly thank you to Benbonk for hosting the jam. That's it for my devlog on 2 sides 1 choice. Thank you for watching, and maybe see you in the next one?